wanna be a dancing man while I can. Gonna leave my footsteps on.
My father started out his show business career at age 4, and it happened because my Aunt Adele, who was a year and a half older, went to dancing school, and he tagged along. And he then became interested in it, and my grandmother put them both on the stage at a very early age. And that's incidentally where the very first top hat image came from, because he was a year and a half younger than Aunt Deli. They put the top hat on him to make up the height. And then, of course, they went on to London, where they had huge successes. He was funny. He did wonderful things. He liked to play the piano and compose music, and people certainly know that he composed a lot of music, but that he had the piano in his bedroom and he had drums in his bedroom. And in fact, later on, he got tired of having the drums in his bedroom and kept them in his bathtub. So he was a little bit eccentric, I think. My father knew he was a star, but he wasn't self-impressed with it, I guess is a good way of putting it. I don't want to make him sound humble or too self-effacing, because he certainly was aware that his work was pretty good, but he still was, I think, surprised at some of it. I think he tended to forget what he'd done the minute he'd done it. People are always stunned to learn that my father really didn't do any sort of exercise routine. If he was getting ready to do a film or a television show, before doing that, he would have calisthenics and running exercises, but only in preparation for a specific film, not the rest of the time. He always made it look as if it was easy, and it wasn't easy. The choreography on most of, or I should say many of my father's movies was done by Hermes Pan, who became his best friend and practically like my godfather. And Daddy and Pan would work together on lots of choreography. Ziegfeld Follies, what was the only film that he did a dance with Gene Kelly, although they did it in That's Entertainment as well. They were good friends. I don't think competitive. I think really appreciated each other's work. They were very much different kinds of dancers. I think Gene was more athletic, but they worked well together. Easter Parade was the film that my father stepped in for Gene Kelly. My father went into the film, into numbers that were actually set for Judy and Gene, so that really had to be rethought. During the making of Easter Parade, Vincent Minnelli was worried about how well Judy was performing and would go and talk to Daddy about it, and he reassured him. He said, Judy can do it so well. She's doing wonderfully well. I only have to explain it to her once, and then she has the routine. And that's good. I can tell from that he did enjoy working with Judy. Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers really worked together as a team. There was an amazing quality that the two of them had together. There were rumors for years that Daddy and Ginger fought, and they didn't. They were really perfectly good friends. They just weren't social friends. I did not grow up with Ginger coming to the house all the time. But I think a lot of that friction that people thought they had was really a result of when things went wrong at work, which is the only time my father would ever lose his temper, is if something interfered with the work getting done.
I have had enough.
Royal Wedding. Now, one of the great things about this is something that's never been done before. The number, You're All the World to Me, where my father dances on the walls and the ceiling. People always ask how that's done, and it actually was quite simple. The room was built in a barrel like at a fun house, and the camera was bolted down, all the furniture, all the props were bolted down, and the room revolved, and the camera revolved with it. I find it And I'm afraid I always will find it very, very difficult to watch my father on film. I do, and I can enjoy it, especially if I prepare myself. But what happens to us, children of film stars, I and my brother, and Liza Minnelli says the same thing, just flipping across the television channel, sometimes the images can be there, and it's very difficult. I think my father's legacy is something that is being shown to me more and more when I meet a young dancer, singer, even actors. They say, I really wouldn't even be in this profession if it hadn't been for your father. And that absolutely thrills me.
A dancing man with footsteps on the sands of